Hi everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. My name is Darren Dumas. I am the owner and instructor at the Bujinkan Budo in Roseville, California. The martial art that we practice is Bujinkan Budo Taijutsu. And today's video is actually based on a conversation that I was having with a group of martial arts friends. I have friends from all around different martial arts, and I love to get together and talk with these guys and chit chat back and forth. But we were talking about why your technique sucks. And when I say your, I mean me too. Why does our technique suck? And I identified 5 things that I think are probably the most essential reasons. And so I know when I'm struggling in my training and I'm trying to do something, and I can usually go back and pinpoint one or more of these things. So the first one, number one, is what I call the compliance dependency. And what that means is that, and for anybody that does dojo training all the time, preset techniques, you have your partner, and I see this all the time where you have your partner is supposed to be this attacker, and no matter what you do, they comply. It becomes very easy. There's no resistance. They're not a jellyfish. That's terrible. But that they don't fight you. Whatever you're doing, if it's a wrist twist, whatever, or you're blocking and hitting them, they take the hit. It's a compliance that's important in training to learn the technique, but the danger is that it can create a dependency, and you don't realize if you're actually doing a technique incorrectly, or that maybe there's a flaw in the way you're doing it, because your partner, in our Japanese martial art we call it uke, but your partner is not revealing that to you through any form of resistance or feedback in any way. So example is, let's say the guy grabs you and you take his hand and you take it off your uniform. Well, when you place your hand on their hand and you go like this, and they just let go of your uniform, and now you have this hand. But a real attacker is not going to do that. In fact, psychologically, if anybody gets a hand on you and you're applying some sort of counter, they're actually going to want to grip harder. It's in our mindset that we want to cling to what we have. We have something. Oh, we hold on to it. So that dependency on that compliance creates a danger that you don't realize your technique sucks, because it looks pretty from the outside, but it's because the guy is doing whatever you want him to do. He's flying across the room or whatever. So that compliance dependency, and what creates that is something that actually feeds into number 2. It's that the uke, or your partner, knows what to expect. They know exactly what you're going to do, and they know the effect that's supposed to come from it. They know that when you block that and hit that arm, they know that that's supposed to knock their arm out of the way to open up for the next counter strike. And so when you hit that arm, they boom, and the arm goes out of the way. But would it really? So that they're expecting, they know exactly what they're supposed to do, and they just do it. And so that's what feeds that dependency, is the fact that they already know what it is you're supposed to do. So they're not going to resist you because they already know it. Like a good actor, they know their line. So that does feed into number 2. Number 2 is that the reason your technique sucks is because you're resisting the resistance. So now we have a situation where the opponent or your partner is providing some resistance, and they're providing some tension into your technique, and all of a sudden you're locking up on them. So you're trying to get that hand off your jacket, and they're flexating. And so instinctively you're just trying to put more and more strength and energy and trying to just get this thing off your jacket as hard as you can, without realizing that your technique sucks, and you're just trying to compensate it with increased strength and aggression and all of that. This again falls on that the uke knows what to expect. They know what you're going to do. They know that you're going to try to peel that hand off. So they're going to put energy into that and try to grip tighter, because they know that you're going to be trying to do that. So there's a problem that comes with that as well, where in a real situation you're trying to get that hand off there, the guy's not doing it, you're not going to just be doing it, you're going to be kicking and punching and whatever. There's going to be other factors that come into play that can weaken that grip and allow you to be able to do that. The other, this also then goes into number 3, and this is probably one of the most common problems right here. And it's the old phrase of you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's probably, in my opinion, 90% of why a technique fails. If it's a preset technique or anything like that, then you have an opportunity that you can then say, all right, when the guy starts to do this, then I move here and I take this spot, this angle at this time. And that allows you to do that. But when you start adding some maybe randori or sparring elements to it, or free play element, or even where they start to counter, where they can move differently, then that becomes even tighter. Now you have to develop an awareness of where to go and where to be and when to be there. And that's higher level training. But where your technique sucks is you haven't quite figured that part out yet. An example is that I'll see a technique where the person's going to throw a punch, and as they start to execute that punch, you shift your position so that now they're executing a punch on a line that's not supported with their foot. So now they're punching like a wedge going like this. They're punching away from their support, weakening that punch and also weakening their balance and leaving them more and more open for a counter. So there's a timing element that's involved there. And maybe you're trying to do it, but the person still just seems to be balanced. They seem, the foot and hand relationship still seem to be connected because maybe your timing is off. Maybe you're moving too soon where it's easy for them to track you and adjust. Maybe you're moving too late where they still clock you. You see this a lot with grappling too. How you take somebody's balance when they come in and they try to grab you or you grab them. There's a timing of when to do certain things and where to be in certain places so that it happens naturally instead of trying to force it. And so this is that wrong place, wrong time. And so again, to compensate, people try to muscle their way. They try to wrestle instead of looking at the finesse part of it. Where's the strategy of that? And then this ties into number 4 quite well. Number 4 is you got some missing parts. There's some nuts and bolts missing out of your mainframe. You've got some parts that are just not there. And so the reason your technique sucks is because you just don't have everything that's needed to make that technique work. There's a piece that you're missing. Maybe you're not turning a hand a certain way, or you're not maybe throwing a fist in there and you're just going straight for the wrist lock instead of kicking them in the bread basket or whatever. I mean, there's something that's missing that's there. That's your knowledge base. Your knowledge is missing. You need to go back. You need to take a look at the technique. You need to research what does the technique say. What are the parts of the technique? Ask your instructor. Maybe you're missing something. And of course, communicate with your partner too. Oftentimes in training, when my technique isn't working, I'll just ask my partner. I'll be like, hey, what am I doing wrong here? How come you are able to keep your balance? What is happening here? And they provide excellent feedback. So do that. And then lastly, this number 5, this is one that I'm guilty of. So many people are guilty of. But why your technique sucks is because you made the technique up. You pulled it out of somewhere and just put it out there, and that is very well why it could suck. Because when you're practicing kata, for instance, or a technique your teacher taught you, assuming you have a good teacher, your technique should work. But when you're making up a technique, it's only going to be as good as your level of understanding and your ability, and you could be missing something. You may think you're doing a good technique, but it really sucks because your level of understanding is not high enough yet for you to just make up techniques. But at the same time, I'm not trying to discourage free expression and free play in your training. You don't always have to stay locked into specific set techniques. But just know that oftentimes if a technique fails or it's not working, it's because you just kind of made it up. But also the making up part or making it up part becomes a patch. You may have a technique that was taught to you. It may be a legitimate technique, but you don't know enough about it, or you don't understand when you're supposed to move a certain way, how to move a certain way. You don't understand how the dynamic works with it. And to fill in those gaps, you'll just make stuff up. And I see this all the time. And in the danger in that is you're rolling the dice. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But again, then it becomes dependent on the compliance. Number one, the compliance dependency. It falls into that, because if you have a compliant uke and you're making stuff up, your uke is just going to go along like a dance partner. And so you may think it works, but it really sucks, because if they applied some sort of resistance to it, then those flaws would be revealed. So the making up a technique is okay, but just know that if it sucks, that very well could be why. So again, to review these 5 things: the compliance dependency, resisting the resistance, both of those being factored into that the partner knows exactly what you're doing, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, missing parts, and making it up. And those, my friends, are the 5 reasons that I have seen that cause a technique to suck. And if you have any other reasons, feel free to please chime in, throw them in the comments, your experiences. There's no ego here. We all make mistakes. If you're sitting here and you're saying, I've never done any of those 5 things, then you're full of it. Because we all do it. I don't care how high rank you are, we all fall into these little things. And it's just part of being human and who we are. Martial arts are a human art. It's about humans. So it's okay, but I think at some point you have to kind of laugh at yourself too, and just accept that, okay, I've created this problem for myself. I'm depending too much on my partner to just go with the flow, or I'm getting too tense when a person tries to resist me. I kind of lose it. Just be honest with you. Because if you're honest with you, then the solution becomes easy. When you're not honest with yourself, then the solution becomes difficult, because accepting that solution is the first step in solving it. So take these to heart. It's funny, I'm presenting them kind of lightheartedly, but really they're very serious, because your training is important and your martial arts are important, and we're all working hard to try to understand, learn, and grow. And so, if anything that I offer here in this video has helped you, please hit like, please subscribe to my channel, and please also click the notification bell to be notified when new videos come out. I'm going to continue to keep pumping videos out as long as I can. I'm in this COVID-19 lockdown, so I got nothing else to do at the moment, so I thought I would share some insights. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. Please feel free to share it. But definitely please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification. So thank you very much for watching, and stay happy, stay healthy, keep training, and don't ever stop.